everybody, it's finally time for another edition of The Brew. Now, first off, I'll just explain a few things here. So the brew, I'm kind of changing the format of the brew a little bit. As you can definitely see, the set I no longer have. We're back in my workspace, which is fine and that'll work. The brew now, really, the brew used to air on here first and then go over to YouTube Live later. That's not going to happen anymore. Now the brew is only going to be able to be viewed right here at unhingedprops.com. And it can be viewed by all of you guys. So this is for basic members and VIPs. This is just going to be a little bit of content here and there put out, maybe some quick tips and some different things. Give you guys something to come and check out. And I'm going to try, no guarantees, but I'm going to try to release one of these once a week. Once a week, maybe twice a week. Man, I guys also want all you members to know, if you look at this page down here, there is underneath, there's places for you guys to post a topic and ask questions. Post topics, ask those questions. That stuff will move over to the forum side, and we can discuss, we can create a conversation. I want to do that. I want to answer questions for you guys. So please feel free. Use the tools that are on this site. Ask the questions. Post topics. Let's get involved. Let's make this a community. That's really what this is all about. So today, the one thing I want to answer is I get this question a lot. I see it on Facebook a lot. It floats around in all the different groups out there. People have the biggest question, or the number one question, and it was a question I had quite a few years ago when I started out with paper mache as well, is how do you seal your projects against the weather? I mean, that was a huge thing for me. Years ago, 15 years ago, I made a mache project and made this gargoyle. It was pretty neat. I put it up on top of my roof. Rain came, one night of rain came, and it was completely destroyed. And I had almost gave up on mache after that point. A few years later, come along, I saw some people doing some things that kind of kicked my interest back in to start mache up once again. And then once I started doing it, I really put some time and effort into building these things and not wanting them to be destroyed when they got some rain. I really started looking into sealing these things for weather. That way they wouldn't be destroyed with just one blast of rain. So the thing we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the different ways to seal your props or your paper mache projects against that rain, against that weather. There's several other items that I don't have here that we'll discuss. They all work well. I think if you use a combination of them, your projects are going to hold up pretty well. I mean, the thing of it is, and I'm going to be honest here, at least I haven't come across personally one sealer yet that completely makes a project absolutely watertight, where it doesn't get a little soft in a heavy downpour of rain. I'm still looking. Maybe there's some things out there that you guys know of that I don't. If you do, leave a comment down below, and I'll try it on my projects and see how it works. Paper wicks water, no matter what. It seems to build up from the inside. You know, just like a jar. If the temperature changes outside from hot to cold, it creates condensation on the inside. And I have a pretty good feeling that's happening a lot on my projects as well. Temperatures drops rising because of October, and you get some condensation on the inside. I don't know a cure for that, guys. I really don't. I can tell you the products that I'm using right now and what I've done. Yes, I put my stuff out in the weather for 30 days. They endure the rain, everything else. Do they stay hard and solid as a rock during those times when they're wet? No. They do get soft, but they don't crumble and fall apart. So for the most part, they'll get a little soft, a little squishy, especially if I didn't get it sealed quite right. But sun comes out, dries them all up, and then they're hard again, and there's no problems. Also, just to let you guys know, I haven't had problems with mold with that happening. I got a lot of my stuff that's lasted for the past good 6-7 years of being outside for 30 days. So anyway, let's get to what I'm trying to talk about. And we'll go over these things real quick. Alright, so for me, my first step in line of defense against the weather is Tight Bond 2 wood glue. And in no way, these guys don't sponsor me, I don't make any money off of them. This is just, by testing and going through some different wood glues, this one for me so far has worked the best. This is water resistant. Now they do make a Type Bond 3. The Type Bond 3 does say it is weatherproof or waterproof, but I haven't used it yet in Mache paste to see how it works and test it out. So my first line of defense itself is Mache paste itself. After that, we'll talk about the spar urethane. A good spar urethane is really what I use, and I usually use it on the finished side of the product. There are some people out there that put this on straight onto their raw project after it's ready and ready for paint. They put this on first. Haven't really done that yet, except for a rib cage that I made, and it did seem to take paint pretty well. This kind of scared me off to try that at first because I had my reservations on how paint would hold to it. Now I may do it raw and do a test project just to see how it holds paint and go from there. That way I can let you guys know, hey, yes, I've personally tested this. You can put this on raw and then paint over it and you won't have any problems. I know people do it. I haven't tested it yet. I need to do it. But spar urethane, great weather protectant, and I use it on everything that I do. Now basically what I do is I've got my paper mache face that's got the wood in it, and then before I actually paint my projects, this is just an exterior latex flat black paint. So after my project is ready, before it's really time to paint, I paint the entire thing in this latex exterior paint. That's just one more protection against the weather. Then after that, I'll do all my final color paint, and once that's done and dry, then I cover it with a spar urethane. But there's other things you can use as well. I know a lot of people will use, there's a driveway sealer out there. You can find out Lowe's or Home Depot. It's kind of a rubbery, textury type of coating. I haven't tried it yet. I stayed away from it just because some of the things that I do got a lot of fine detail when I'm doing face work, like on some of these other witches and things I had, and I was afraid of losing that detail that I had sculpted into it, so I kind of shied away. But as things are going, I think I'm going to buy some of that too and test it out, so you can use driveway sealer. I know J-Wall, if you're familiar with anything in YouTube, J-Wall uses the driveway sealer as well, and there's quite a few others that do it too. So I need to give that a try so I can really validate to you guys how well it works in the weather. I've been told that it does a great job, however I haven't tested it myself. There is a product out there that I have tested. It comes in an aerosol can, like spray can. I just don't have any on me right now. It is called Flex Seal. The Flex Seal comes either black or it comes clear. Now I gave this stuff a try a year ago, just for the fact that when I saw it, it said it was paintable and everything that I kind of wanted. Now, it's rather pricey. It's about $16 a can, depending on where you purchase it from and what area you're in. Pros and cons, and if you've got 20-some hours in a project, man, it's pretty nice to know you've got some assurance against the weather. Now, the Flex Seal, when it sprays out, it's like a rubberized coating as well in spray form. I like it in spray form because you can get deep into the crevices of some of these projects that have a little more detail in them than others, so I feel like you get a better coating on the inside. And when I first used it, I was really worried. It came out pretty thick, and I thought I was going to lose my detail. However, after it dried and cured, it really sunk back into the project, and I didn't lose the detail. So I can tell you it's scary at first when you put it on, but after it dries, you don't lose the detail. So I was very happy with that product. The only downside is it is very, very fumy. It's even more fumy than spar urethane. Spar urethane you want to use outside. The Flex Seal, you definitely want to use it in a well-ventilated area or outside completely, because the fumes that come off of this are they'll knock you off your feet. They're very strong. And then the only other downside to that is it takes a good 24 hours for that to fully cure. So once you put it on, you're going to have to wait a good 24 hours before you get to do your final paint on it. But it's a good product. I feel like it gives it a good rubber seal, and I don't see water penetrating through it very much, and it holds up the project well. So Flex Seal, that's one of them I would recommend as well. Now, a product I tested out a few years ago, or a year or two ago, is Never Wet. And we got a couple cans right here. You can buy this now at Walmart. It used to be kind of hard to get a hold of, but now it's in a spray can like this. It's 2 different steps, step 1 and step 2. You know, when you first use this, and I first used this, I was absolutely amazed. You put it on, let it dry, and nothing would stick to it. And I put it on a raw piece, and water would just shed off of it. I put it in a bathtub, and water just came out of it, and it held its form, it held its shape. You could pour ketchup, mustard, and it would just repel everything. But it does have a downside. It doesn't last any real duration, right? I mean, even your spar urethanes, if you're using them on a deck, after about a year or so, you would need to come back and put another coat of that urethane on. You can pretty much get away with this urethane, put it on, and go a couple years before you need to hit it with urethane, hit your project again with urethane. The Never Wet doesn't last that long. A test piece that I put out there, it made it about 2 months. When I put it out, it was snowing and sleeting, and it went through some hard weather. It held up pretty decent, but after about 2 months, it started breaking down, and the water started getting into the project. The other thing I noticed, and once again, this was just on a raw project, I got a little discoloration in that Never Wet itself, so I'm sure if it was on top of paint, it would change colors. So it discolored a little bit, and then it started flaking off, and you could see these flakes coming off of it, so it wasn't the most attractive thing to look at. I haven't tested it on a finished piece. Maybe I'll take one of the old pieces that I won't be using this year and kind of retiring, that are fully painted, hit them with this Never Wet, and see how it holds. I'm not worried about how it's going to hold up in the rain. What I am worried about is if it's going to discolor and cause my finished product to look bad, where it looks good right now. Because if it's going to cause that kind of problem, we're not going to recommend it. But if it doesn't cause a problem with the paint, it doesn't start looking bad, if it only lasts for 30 days, that's not really a bad problem. Because you can pull your props out, you can spray them down with the Never Wet, throw them out there, and you don't have to worry about it. It just sheds the water like crazy. But before I recommend it, that's a good thing to do. We'll do some testing this summer before Halloween hits. I'll get an older prop, we'll spray it with Never Wet, and we'll continue it on this form here, and we'll see how it holds up, and we'll really see, does it affect the paint, does it start flaking back off and make your project look bad. Because the last thing I want to do is let you guys know, hey, this is a good sealer, and then it ruins anything that you've done. We want to stay away from that. So we'll look forward to that in the future. We'll do some testing on it. First line of defense, Type Bond 2. That's in our Mache paste right from the beginning. I also put it, that's what I use in my clay mix as well. Second line of defense, it's either going to be a exterior latex black paint, a spar urethane straight onto your project itself, or the Flex Seal. Great second line of defense. Then we're going to put our final colors on, paint it all up, and then we'll do a third line of defense, which would be spar urethane again. Even if I did the Flex Seal, I would still go back and do the spar urethane once again. It just overprotects. You can't protect enough. You guys put a lot of work in these projects. You want them to hold up. You don't want them to fall apart. Never Wet? Maybe. We'll see. We'll have those projects. We'll do some projects this summer and find out. Also, again, the other one I forgot about for your second line of defense could have been also driveway sealer. Anyway, that's really about it, guys. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just find out the best things. And there's you can get crazy with the urethane. There's marine grade urethane that you can go buy that they use on the bottom of boats, but that stuff's extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. Unless you got a big thick pocketbook, stay away from it. This stuff right here, you can pick it up at Lowe's or Home Depot. It's only $20 or $30 for 1 gallon. And I know that seems expensive, but this 1 gallon will get you, for the first 2.5 years in the projects I was making, I only went through 1 gallon of urethane, and I made 30, 40 props with it. So when you really break it down, you know, $1 a prop, it's not that bad, guys. I mean, one thing I will note, guys, when you do your spar urethane, it leaves a glossy look. Some props look pretty good glossy. Other ones don't. So once you use the spar urethane, if you don't want that glossy look, just go out and buy a spray paint that's a matte clear finish and lightly dust that matte finish over your prop, and you'll get back down to that matte look, and you don't have a glossy look. Very easy to do, and it gets you back there. So those are pretty much what you want to use. Those are the things that will really, you know, protect your props and the things you make your projects against the weather. Best piece of advice I can give you, if you're watching the weather and your stuff is out there and you just know that you've got major storms coming and it's going to be 2 or 3 days worth of heavy rain constantly, go pick them up. Put them inside. Put them in your garage. Put them back in the house. If you can't move them, if you got too much stuff around them, get a trash bag. Just throw it over the top of it. Keep it from just soaking water up for 4 or 5 days. But for the most part, if you use this type of stuff on your projects, if your stuff's outside and you're at work and a storm comes in and it rains on it for 2 or 3 hours, you're not going to have to worry about it. It's still going to be a solid piece when you get back home. It's not going to be destroyed. Guys, I hope this helps you out. I hope it gives you a little, you know, relaxation against the fear of putting your things out in the weather. If you use these products, they'll hold up. I've done it. I've done it now for the past 6-7 years. My stuff's got rained on, and I've never had anything completely just fall apart on me. Most of my stuff that I've made, about 99.9% of it that I've made has been out in the weather. It's still around, and I'm still using it to this day. So there it is. That's how you seal it. Those are some of the products that are out there. If any of you guys know some better products or some products that I don't know of, leave a comment down below. We'll discuss it. I'll go get those products and put them to the test if I haven't tested them yet. Hopefully that gives you an answer and some ideas on how you can seal your project and protect it from the weather. Go out, enjoy yourself, make some stuff, seal it up. And like I always say, keep making something from nothing.
What you want?